What is new, Speed Duel crew? This is your Speed Duel Professor coming at you with another deck profile of a top tier meta deck at a Professor level. So, this is an Iron Grit and Professor of Alchemy combo deck, and this is a deck that has a great demonstration of why Speed Duel Duos allows for a lot of creativity and really powerful combos that are not possible in normal Speed Duel. Starting off with our skills, we are playing Iron Grit, which makes Gearfried the Iron Knight unaffected by all cards, both players. And then we are playing Professor of Alchemy, where you can banish a card from your face up field or your hand. That's a level 4 or lower monster. And it creates an Alchemy Beast token. These Alchemy Beast tokens cannot be tributed except for the tribute summon of Golden Homunculus. They're 500 by 500 rock, and their attribute matches the type of the monster that you banished. And then they can attack directly, and that cannot be tributed. Does apply even to cards like Lava Golem, which means your opponent cannot tribute them as tributes for Lava Golem. On to our main deck, we are playing 3 copies of Gearfried the Iron Knight. He is going to be our limit 3 for the deck. And he's going to be one of our main attackers, since Iron Grit makes him unaffected by all other cards. We're going to be playing 2 Banisher of the Radiance. This says any card going to the graveyard is banished instead. This includes the effect of cards like Sphere Kribo and Magic Kribo, which require being sent to the graveyard as cost, as well as the skill As I Predicted, no longer can function because since your opponent's cards can't go to the graveyard, they can't meet the condition in order to activate their card effects. We are playing 2 DD Warrior. After it battles a monster, you do have to banish the both monsters that battled. The battle damage still does go through. We are playing 1 DD Scout Plane. So we use this card to banish off of Professor of Alchemy to create a token. And then at the end of the turn, he special summons himself back into the field in attack mode, which can help us have a steady supply of Alchemy Beast tokens. Another person who helps us get a steady supply is DD Survivor. He is a reinforcement of the army target, but DD Scout Plane can be banished from the hand and come back. DD Survivor does need to be normal summoned, but when he's special summoned back to the field, it does not have to be in attack mode. So he can also be an unlimited source of defense as well as tokens. Another reinforcement target, we are playing 1 Exiled Force in the main, and we're going to be playing another one in the side. He can be tributed to destroy any monster on the field. And then our last card is 2 Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida. If an Earth-type monster is destroyed, which we have several, we have Exiled, DD Warrior, and Gearfried. He special summons himself, and then he sends a card from your deck to the graveyard. And there's a couple of good combos in the combo section we're going to talk about that have to do with Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida. We are playing 2 Reinforcement of the Army to search level 4 lower warriors. We're playing 2 Premature Burials. You pay 800 life points to revive a monster. We're playing 2 Grand Convergence. So if Macrocosmos is on the field, you destroy all monsters and inflict 300 burn damage to your opponent. And there is a pretty crazy combo with that we'll talk about in the combo section as well. We're playing 1 Offerings to the Doomed, 3 Macrocosmos to help us not only shut down cards like Sphere Kribo and other cards that require going to the grave, stops fossil decks, and also pairs really well with that Grand Convergence. We're also playing triple Blast with Chain, which has an incredible combo with Gearfried the Iron Knight. 1 Lost Wind to help cut really powerful monsters' attacks down, because our 2 main weaknesses in this deck are going to be high attack monsters and Lava Golem, which is why it was really important to talk about that Lava Golem interaction with the Alchemy Beast token. And our last card in the main deck is going to be Token Stampede. Attack position tokens cannot be destroyed by battle, and they gain 1,000 attack, which means instead of attacking directly for 500 with each token, you can attack directly with 1,500 for each token. So go ahead and take a screenshot if you need to as we move on to the extra and the side deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we are playing Awakening the Dragon package. So we have one Ojama King to block off zones. We're playing one Destiny End Dragoon for spot removal of monsters as well as burn damage. We are playing one Cyber Blader for its different control abilities. We're playing 1,000 Eyes Restrict to also control the battlefield. Arcana Knight Joker, who's a big beater with protection. And Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This could also be replaced with Cyber End Dragon as a big beater, as Cyber End Dragon has piercing. I actually just don't have a copy on me in this moment, but that's probably who I would play instead of Blue Eyes Ultimate. For our side deck, we are playing Double Waking the Dragon. So after we scare our opponent with all of our trap cards like Blast with Chain and Macrocosmos and everything, if they, in game 2 or game 3, when we swap in Waking the Dragon, if they destroy or banish that card, we get to summon any monster from our deck or extra deck, which can be very, very problematic for our opponent. We are playing 2 Lost Wind. You can target a special summon monster, cut its attack in half, and negate its effects. And if your opponent summons from the extra deck, you get to set it back to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. We are playing 1 Shrink for the really high attack point decks to help Gearfried get over those, as well as 1 more Exiled Force for if there's a deck that needs extra spot removal that can't be destroyed by battle, like for example Amazonas. These 4 cards are really good to go against the Amazonas deck. So go ahead and take a screenshot if you need to. So we're going to go ahead and go into combos. So Gearfried the Iron Knight is one of our main guys in this deck, just since he becomes a totally unaffected monster while he's on the field, which is incredible. You don't have to worry about Quaking Mirror Forces. You don't have to worry about Sphere Greebos. He also hits through Swords of Revealing Light because Swords of Revealing Light affects the opponent's monsters and not the player. So that's another part of Gearfried the Iron Knight that a lot of people don't know, is if your opponent has Swords of Revealing Light, he can just keep swinging through the... So, again, one of this deck's main weaknesses is if you do get 2 Gearfried the Iron Knights out, which is a very tempting thing to do, if your opponent is playing Lava Golem and you know they're playing Lava Golem, it's actually better to banish a monster from your hand or field, even if it has to be a Gearfried, to summon an Alchemy Beast token or 2, because these guys cannot be attributed for Lava Golem. So if you summon out, if you know your opponent is a burn player, as long as you stick to 2 tokens, you can never be Lava Golem, which is incredible, as burn is a very meta deck. So another combo with Gearfried the Iron Knight has to do with Premature Burial. So if Gearfried is in your graveyard and you play Premature Burial, you can summon Gearfried the Iron Knight back from the graveyard, and then Gearfried's effect activates, destroying any card that's equipped to him. And so he destroys the Premature Burial, and normally Premature Burial would destroy the monster that it's equipped with when it goes to the graveyard, but Iron Grit says that he's unaffected by all cards as long as he's on the field. So Premature Burial will try and take him back to the graveyard, but then Iron Grit says, actually, I'm not affected by you anymore. So Gearfried the Iron Knight will actually stay on the field, turning Premature Burial basically into a Monster Reborn for us, as long as we're using it on Gearfried, which is great because we can't actually play Monster Reborn when we're playing 2 Reinforcement of the Army. In a similar vein, if you play Blast with Chain with Gearfried, I like to wait till my opponent normal summons for the turn. If you equip Blast with Chain onto Gearfried, same thing with Premature Burial, he's going to destroy it. But then what Blast with Chain says is if it's destroyed while equipped to a monster, you can destroy any card your opponent controls. So if they have a problematic spell or trap, you can do that. But I really like to wait until my opponent normal summons and then flip that Blast with Chain to get rid of their normal summon for the turn. Or wait till their battle phase, and as soon as their battle phase starts, hit the monster that's going to be able to destroy my Gearfried. One last crazy combo in this deck is with Macrocosmos and Grand Convergence. So Macrocosmos is already really powerful in the fact that it stops all the Kribos in the game, which are running rampant. But then if you pair it with this card, Grand Convergence, it says if you control Macrocosmos, destroy all monsters on the field and deal 300 to your opponent. And normally all the monsters, so say we had another monster here, it would get banished because Macrocosmos is on the field, and your opponent takes 300 damage. But Iron Grit says, again, Gearfried is unaffected by all cards, both you and your opponents. So he will not be destroyed by Grand Convergence, and he will not be banished by Grand Convergence, and he will remain on your field. So if you wait until your opponent's battle phase and flip over this Grand Convergence, because it is a quick play spell, you're going to destroy their monsters, and unless they have the hand trap that we're going to talk about, which is Cataclysm Crusted Calcifida, they're probably not going to have any follow-up plays, and they're going to have a wide open field for you to summon and then hit for massive damage on the next turn. And speaking of that hand trap that I'm talking about, Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida, if you have your Gearfried get destroyed, which a okay number of decks are able to normal summon over Gearfried, not all of them, but a lot of them can. If he gets destroyed, you do get to special summon Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida, and then send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. And that sending is by effect and not by cost, which means that it's not actually prevented under macro. It just means that your monster is going to go to the banishment zone instead of the graveyard. So in that situation, not only do you get a 2600 monster, who a lot of the decks that are hitting over Gearfried are going to be Dark Magician or Elemental Hero Neos, since they can special summon those monsters. This 2600 is going to get over Dark Magician, Elemental Hero Neos, Monarchs, Jinzo, a lot of really popular one tributes in the format. And you're going to have a pretty big body, which paired with cards like Lost Wind and Shrink can take down monsters with up to 5200 attack. But on resolution of this Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida, if you have Macrocosmos, what you can do is you can actually send DD Scout as your monster, and because he got banished at the end of the turn, he is going to come back in attack mode, allowing you to turn him into an Alchemy Beast token once it becomes your turn. But if you do summon Cataclysmic Calcifida when Macrocosmos is not on the field, you don't want to send DD Scout. What you would actually probably want to send is either a Gearfried or an Exiled Force. So the reason I will usually send Exiled Force or Gearfried, you already saw the Premature Burial combo with Gearfried where he comes back without being destroyed. But also, if you send Exiled Force and you draw one of your Premature Burial, Exiled Force is basically a free monster destruction. So what you can do is pay 800, bring back Exiled Force, and then he's a little fragile because Premature Burial is attached to him. So what you can do is just go ahead and tribute him, and then you destroy one monster your opponent controls, and you still haven't used your normal summon. So then you get to normal summon on top of that, and because you destroyed an opponent's monster, they're probably almost completely wide open for direct attacks. So I hope in seeing some of these combos that this has kind of shown why, for example, us at Locals have really taken to the Speed Duel Duos format where we use 2 skills at a time, because it not only opens creativity in deck building like this, but can create some insane synergies that are not possible when you're just playing one skill Speed Duel. And myself and the rest of our locals just find that very interesting and fun to play around with. So this has been your Speed Duel Professor. That's game.